Hello everybody, this is Marsha LaFroth. Welcome to the Winter Shadow Box class to go. You're going to be making this beautiful insert for a 9" by 9" shadow box. So you have a little picture to help you, but of course I'm going to walk you through everything as well. So first we're going to build, you can just set those aside for later. And actually, let's go ahead and glue our 3 base layers together first, and then we'll do each piece from our pack. So yeah, you just want to put, I'm using Tombow multi-liquid glue, which is what I use most of the time on these. If I have something really small and detailed, then I like this Art Glitter brand of glue, but this one's this is less expensive, and you don't want it very thick and wet because you don't want it to bow. So just put a nice thin layer and glue your 3 layers together. Just realized the tip of my corner is a little bent. It won't be seen, but I hope that is not, I hope that didn't happen to your kits. Mine hasn't even been mailed, so I don't know why it's like that. I will say, I would not recommend snail adhesive for putting these layers together, and that's because you're going to be framing it and it's going to be displayed hopefully for years. It's just not as strong, and sometimes people have had problems with things popping off. You could use Fast Fuse or Seal Plus. Oh, and the nice thing about glue is you can lift it a little if you're struggling to get it even like I am, except that now it's sticking. Oh well, that's gonna have to be close enough. I can see this left edge is white is a little bigger than the right edge, but the good thing about the white is you don't really see it anyway once it's in your frame. It's just there to make it big enough to fit in a 9 by 9 frame. So if your white layer isn't perfect, don't sweat it. Okay, so then you can just set that aside as we build our smaller layers. And just like when you do Legos, you don't want to dump all the pieces out from all these packets at once. Take a little bit at a time. We'll save the biggest layer with winter for last, because that is a little tedious putting those on the foam strips. You can set that aside, and we'll start with the easy ones, which is the little piece that says "Let It Snow." And so you can take, and you know what, if you don't want to dig these through there, you can always just cut the top off, unless you want to save the bags for something. Okay, so hopefully, if I haven't messed anything up, you'll have 2 white sparkly layers, 2 blue, and 2 speckled. I'm hoping that you guys can see okay. I wanted to get close enough, but yet wide enough that, anyway, my dog's barking. Okay, then you're going to glue those 3 layers together. Now, this thin paper layer would probably be fine to do your snail on, but definitely when you glue, when you go to that glitter layer, see how it's such a tiny edge? The glue just makes it easier to be able to move it around. But when you go to the glitter layer, you definitely want glue. Even the tear tape or Seal Plus or Fast Fuse, those really strong tapes, they just don't stick to the glitter layers very well. So I would highly recommend you use glue. Oops, I feel like I'm really having a hard time spacing this out. And hold it for a second, because oh look, aren't my fingernails perfect for this project? I almost put a penguin on this winter scene because I was trying to think what goes with winter, but it didn't make the cut. We got a snowman instead. Okay, so even that, I can see it's wanting to lift, so stick something heavy over it to let it dry on that glitter layer to help it really stick. And usually we don't have such difficulties. It's just that. The other trick with this glitter paper, you're going to notice the one we're gluing everything to is a little different than the one your trees are cut out. It's because that is the Stampin' Up! One they used to have that I love because it was thin enough to die cut and it did not shed glitter. It just didn't. But they don't sell it anymore. So these background ones I went and bought at Hobby Lobby, and they look just as pretty, but they shed glitter like you wouldn't believe. My paper cutter got so full of glitter, and I think it makes it harder for this to stick. So there's my story for you. I guess I could have gone on eBay to find retired Stampin' Up, but I didn't. All right, I'm going to stick both of those under there for a minute, although there's not much more to do to these. Like I said, these are the easy layers. Then you're going to just tie a bow with your trim, and some of you may have gotten the blue and white one that's shown here, but I ran out of that, so I used a lot of, I guess I try to calculate everything. Oh, you need scissors. I meant to tell you what you need at the beginning, but I didn't. I don't know, I try to calculate everything just right on my orders, but sometimes I mess up. And yeah. Okay, this is gonna go on here with dimensionals, but because we're attaching to glitter, now this is the Stampin' Up! One that does not shed any glitter. Oops, but all the same, because it is glitter, I recommend that you add a little glue reinforcement to those dimensionals, just because you don't want this sitting in your frame and then having anything pop off on you. You just want it to be perfect. And that little bit of extra glue is your insurance. And for anyone who might want to know, this little circle die comes from the Little Treat dies. They did just retire, I believe. And this comes from the Tasteful Label dies. And that Let It Snow is an old retired, or not retired, it was a paper pumpkin one. Okay, I think I'm actually going to hope these are stuck down enough now so we can finish putting them together. So this this snowflake here, I just attach it with a glue dot in the middle. I don't think I raised it. I'm looking at my sample. I didn't. I mean, it's just not glued super flat because I'm only doing the center. And then you'll stick a bow, and I'm gonna just grab another glue dot, but kind of curl it underneath so that it's not sticking out. You can also roll them in your fingers to get them small enough to fit under there. And then you'll just stick that on. Okay, and then this, I just put flat on there since we have the Let It Snow popped up. And those ones go together quickly. I'm just hoping that I'm staying in the camera. It's higher, so I can't see what's showing. Looks like I'm in okay. To remember to do everything higher. Okay, 2 down. The next 2, we're going to do the one that has a little bit of ribbon in it. This is where we're going to make the snowman, and hopefully you all read and saw that for this particular kit you needed an orange and black marker and a blue ink pad and a little sponge dauber. You could use a sponge like a regular, you know, craft sponge instead. So let's sponge our layers first. We're making this little, I don't know if this is showing in the film, not very well. We're making this little snowman here. And so we're gonna, just so that when we pile them up, you can see the 3 layers. It's like he's looking up at us and we're looking at the top. You're just gonna put a little blue ink around your snowman layers. Now my ink, I might need to refill it soon. It's not super inky. If yours is brand new, you may want to tap lightly because you might get a ton of ink. Mine is well used and loved and maybe even needs a little more ink. So I'm putting fairly thick pressure. I can see that I want that a little more even. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. Wow, watch out though. I just stuck my finger in that ink pad. And if it is your first time getting an ink pad from Stampin' Up, I'm gonna take this moment to show you that on the back, you can peel off the label that says Balmy Blue and stick it on that edge. And then you can peel off the other blank label here and stick it inside there. And that's how you always know your ink pad color when it's open. And just, if you're new to this kind of ink pad, you open it like a compact, but then to use it, you slide it. And if yours is stiff, because they are sometimes when they're new, the more you open it, the faster it gets. But you can also stick, I've heard people just run chapstick on the inside. I haven't tried it yet because I just deal with it being a little stiff, but that makes it slide really easily. So if I ever get desperate enough, I will do that. But thus far, I've just said, oh well, I got that one a little bit thick. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, as with all handmade things. Okay, so there's our 3 layers of our snowman. And then I also sponged around the bird. Now, I've given you the pieces in a way that he's facing this, or she is facing this way. You could do it that way, but then your embossed wing is going to be indented the other direction. So it is designed to go this direction. I had to make sure when I embossed those wings, because if you're doing the snow banner class, that bird goes the other direction. So let's hope I kept them all straight as I was embossing that. Oh, I hear a child home that may be coming to check on me soon. Okay, so then we have our little bird, and we're just going to separate the bird's wing. And you don't need a lot on it, but just enough that you kind of can see it when you put it together. All right, that is all for the sponging. The other part, I think we'll do the face after we put this guy together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our, I should have probably done this first so our glitter layers could be drying, but I didn't. So now one thing that you do want to be careful about when gluing to foil is it is slippery. So again, you could use your tape. I just didn't even bring tape over here, so I'm sticking with glue. But when you put that on, it likes to slide around. So just be careful. But I'll tell you, it's nice to slide it to have that perfect little silver edge. It's kind of sad to cover up all that silver foil, but you're just getting a little peek at it. And by the way, if you like this side better, you could do that side. I planned it for this one. So I'm putting the glue, but it's our double-sided paper, which I had to buy so much of between this class and the snow banner to get the patterns I wanted, but I have a bunch left over that's just missing one design, a bunch of packages. Anyway, if you're interested, talk to me. You can buy those packages at a discount. I'll talk about it more at the snow banner class too, if I remember. All right, then we're gonna put that. And man, I've been working on Valentine projects too, but I still want it to snow. So I'm hoping making these is gonna bring some snow. I was recently watching another demonstrator do her catalog walkthrough, and she just talked about how ready she is for spring and she doesn't like it cold and dreary. And I totally get that, but man, I love snow. I don't know if it's because I grew up where we had more snow and I just want it to snow. Okay, this is like, I can see wanting to lift, so hopefully you have something heavy nearby. I just happen to have a heart punch. Those punches are heavy. Just put my first big order in from the new catalog, and I ordered a bunch of punches for a class, and wow, I could barely lift that box when it arrived on my doorstep. Felt kind of bad for the UPS man. I should do something nice for him for hauling those heavy packages. Okay, like I said, I probably should have done that layer first so those could be getting attached while we did everything else, but you know, I didn't. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see if I shove that out of the way and it's not blocking what I do down here. Okay, so let's put the hat on our snowman. So you have two little pieces and they just line up on the bottom and then the sides stick out. So I'll just put a little bit of glue here on the bottom and attach, oops, that like so. And then you have two little rhinestones, one's bigger than the other, the bigger of the two, and yours might be this big or it might be a little smaller. There was kind of two big sizes. I just shared them so everybody got some, but the tiny, everyone got the same tiny one. That's the bird's eye. Okay, so then you're going to put your snowman hat on first so that you can see where to draw your face. Oh look, if I put it here, I can use those lines to help me get it even. All right, now the hard part. It's not that hard. Luckily, it's just circles and a triangle, but I know it's still scary because what if I mess it up and I've already sponged this and put the hat on? So I'm gonna just draw some eyes and they're all gonna look a little different. If you happen to have the little snowman builder pieces from like last year, they had a kit. I was hoping I'd have enough to put in here, but I didn't. You could use that. Okay, then the nose, I'm trying to decide which end to use. I better go with the tiny one, even though. So just drawing a triangle. I know there's better artists out there that could make a more amazing face than what I'm doing here. But it's okay. Nobody who looks at your thing is going to study this face. So take comfort in that. And if you want to do the face first and then glue the hat on, you can. I mean, he looks kind of funny and it's okay. Once we get him all together, it will be fine. And then I'm taking my dimensionals and sticking this on. Oh, make sure you put that on this, the next size, the medium size snowman, not the biggest one. How did I do it? Did I stick it right in the middle? See, I have to see what I did. I don't even remember. And then that one's going to go in there, and I put dimensionals between every layer. I mean, you could put two on the sides too. You probably don't need to, but I will, because again, we're making this to last forever. So every year you can put it in your frame. All right. Gonna get these things out of the way. Wow, they're really stuck there. All right, then our little bird, we're going to need to put it to the layer soon, but we can at least attach our little, we can attach our little wing. I think a big one will still fit on there. I'm using the little ones when we get to the deer and the bears. There's your wing, and then the little rhinestone. I sometimes like to use my take your pick tool to get these off, but I seem to always forget to bring it over when I'm doing a video. Okay, luckily that fell right where I needed it. So there's your little bird. And then we attach these to our stuff that I sure hope that's sticky. You might want to put extra glue in there. I feel like this sticky glitter paper, it's just wanting to lift. So maybe I say usually do a really thin layer of glue. I feel like with these maybe you need more because of that loose kind of glitter that's wanting to lift there. All right, then I also put this up on dimensionals. Maybe I'll be less liberal this time. So you got your snowman and your bird. Again, one dimensional is probably fine, but oh, before I put that down, I'm gonna put my little branch. Now this is where it's nice to have the fine tipped glue, but you could just stick a little glue dot there and that can just be loose. You don't have to glue that down flat, but one thing about this nice little fine tip, Art Glitter is a brand, and if you ever get it, the Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell it. So I'm not trying to make any money off you here. I'm just telling you, I like it. Make sure you get that silver, the fine tip pin to go on the top. Oh, look, you might want to pay attention to where you want your bird to go, because I see in my sample, I put my branch a little higher. I mean, it probably doesn't really matter. But yeah, this metal, somebody gave me that as a gift to put my pin on when I'm not using it. But as you can see, I forget. I did this so long without that I'm still just sticking it on my table. Okay, so those are done. We only have 2 more of the little ones to go. These are the ones that are a little bit finicky. And don't lose your little bears. Okay, we're going to start with the glitter layer. Get that done with. And we'll be a little more generous with our glue this time on that layer. Ooh, oh, phew. Like, I only have 1 paper. It's always like my biggest hope, prayer, and fear. My biggest fear when I send these out is that you're missing a piece, and I am going to have to get it to you, which if I do, just let me know. But it's like so much easier to cut everything at once than having to go back later and cut one little piece of this and one little piece of that. So I just always hope that you have everything you need so that when I'm mass cutting, I can get it all, you know, get it all right the first time. But then step 1's cutting it, and then step 2 is getting everybody the right numbers of things in their packets. So, all right, now I'm going to put more glue on this time because I could see the edges lifting a little on my glittery part. And I think I'm having a harder time layering it because my background is white and this background's white, and so I feel like I can't see very good. We're just going to stick that on there. That heavy heart punch is coming in handy. Got to check again to make sure I'm staying in the camera. Yeah. Okay. And again, usually I don't worry about getting right up to the edges, but with this glitter paper, I do recommend it. Hopefully, though, you don't have it oozing out, because one thing I will say, this says it dries clear. This, I mean, it does kind of show up if it dries, so you want to be a little careful not to have it oozing all over your project. Okay. All right, now comes what's a little bit tricky. Let me see if I can get this in here, and I don't know, my light is not as great as I wish it was here. Okay, so we are gonna tear snow layers. Is that showing up in here? A little bit. I guess I could have taken it out of the frame. That would have made it easier. Okay, hold on. I can just see that curling on the edge. Boo. Boo. I think that I think when it comes down to it, my heart punch is not really holding that very well. Sorry. When I did this the first time, I had old Stampin' Up! Paper still on all except my middle one. Whew, let's hope this was gonna work. I just keep sticking glue there, but I think I was counting on my punch to hold that down better than it really was. So you may just want to pause and sit and hold that with your fingers if yours is lifting like mine is. look, it just lifted right off. I'm getting nervous now. Because I've made this one over a month ago and it's never lifted or fallen off. And the one I made last year is still fine. But it was different paper. I'm staring at that now to see if... Yeah, that is a different one. They look so similar, but... Okay, I didn't mean to take forever in this video on this part of holding that down to get the glue to stick really well. Oh. I just need Stampin' Up! To always sell everything and not stop because it messes me up. All right, that is not perfectly even. And that is a part of stamping, is to accept that things are not going to be perfect. Oh, I forgot. Look, I forgot to give my little snowman his scarf. Whoops. Now it's a little harder now that I've stuck them together, and I'm sorry that I might have led you astray there. Shoot, I'll have to tell you when I send you this video to be careful about that. Okay, you're just going to get it the way you want, and you would stick it to the back of his face with a glue dot, which is going to be a lot harder now that I've already stuck him on there. Okay. I mean, you could just skip this part, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to get another one there. Using my scissors to help me pick these up. Stick one on that side too. This is where hopefully I didn't put the glue. That's where you would like to do it before you put your dimensional down. Oh, okay. It worked. It looks a little bit funny, but you could definitely stick it more in the center of his face. It's just going to just be a little scarf sticking out there. You can see in the sample one, it's a little more sideways than down. That's okay. Close enough. Sorry I missed that. Okay. You're using these white pieces to make snow that you're going to tuck your little deer into here. Okay, and the real fun thing about this is you get to tear it. You get to try to tear those heels. So I tried to give you a lot that if you mess that part, it's okay. So I kind of made a little valley like that at first. And if that's, and we're not attaching anything yet. And then I kind of just use this other piece here. And then I'm going to put dimensionals. And I'm just sort of laying out. Now this tree piece, you're going to cut, and you're going to use this one little tree. That's going to go over on your other side. And you may not even have this whole bottom piece because you don't need it. We're going to cut it off. I'm just leaving a little bit there to help me tuck it down in. So I'm going to kind of look at this in space. This is the hard part. How far down do I want my snow to go? Okay, I want my trees to sit here like this. And then, because I want them about there. And then that, and I'm just sort of looking in here. This little pedestal is going to come out from under there. I can't get it. I'm struggling. Okay, and then I have to just cut the bottom. So I figure out how high I want that back layer to go. And I'm going to just then cut this off. Yeah, don't hate me for this part, guys. Okay, now that might be too low. Let's see if I stick those there like that. Is that okay? And then, of course, I'm going to have to cut this a little lower. If I want to see my tree a little more, and I can tear this. Hopefully if you have a hard time the first time with this, you can just keep tearing more. And I'm going to make that even lower. So I'm going to cut more off the bottom of this. I can just guess that people already hate me for this one. Yeah, it's okay. It's gonna look really good no matter what, because you have a sparkly tree and a reindeer in there. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing right now before I'm gluing anything down. And I'm saying, does that look about how I want it to go? If I tuck my trees there, I think I'm actually gonna just cut this thing off because it's kind of sticking up and bugging me. These little trees and bears or deer are from the snow globe dies. So that's why they have a little pedestal. Oh, I didn't think about when I was doing this, designing this. I didn't think that it was going to be this tricky. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. My back heel is a little high. I might cut that a little more or just scoot it down. Oh, I remember this being easier when I did it the first time. Then I'm going to tuck my trees there and tuck my deer there. Okay, so I've kind of got my plan. Now I'm going to glue my white down. I have to see if you guys can see okay. I feel like I'm losing my light. But when I turn on an overhead light, it gives me a glare sometimes. So I'm not sure what I want to do to make it so you guys can see. What time is it? Okay. So I'm going to put this all the way at the bottom. And then this I'm going to put up on dimensionals so that I can tuck my little things underneath it. Okay, so that's where the little dimensionals are helpful, the minis. And if you don't have minis though, then just cut bigger ones in half. Now I would normally put one there, but my deer I think is going to tuck right in there. So I want to make it easy to tuck him in there. Now, if you wanted to, you could go and add Wink of Stella on your snow to make it glittery, but I didn't do that. Okay, so now I can just tuck my trees how I want them. Oh my goodness, this looks crooked. My background. The way I stuck it on the glitter, but oh well, I'm not changing it now. I put my trees flat. I think I'm gonna use my other one. Ooh, you'll be glad when you're done with these squares, right? Oh, let's see. Let me remember. Stick that there instead. Okay. And put our trees there. And now here's where, oh, my pin fell off. Maybe I'm not going to do that. Okay. Here's where you're going to want to cut this base now too. You could, I don't think I left it at all. I think I just took it right off because sorry, I guess I could have cut that off better. I'm not trying to put glue on here. This guy's going to be on dimensionals too. So really, I'm just going to stick some on his neck there. And his body. Oh, even his, you know, this is so small. We're going to cut a mini dimensional in half. Oh my goodness. If this is your first shadow box kit with me, I promise they're not all this finicky. But you can start with a finicky one that's going to make the rest feel easy. Okay, now, because I can see that his little body, oops, is going to land on that glitter tree. And even though it's not the one that's shedding glitter, I'm still going to stick an extra glue on that one, just for security. The one that's going to land on that tree right there. Oh, I see my sample one. I tucked him deeper in there. You can decide how high you want him. How deep buried in the snow. I have dimensionals stuck to my fingers. Okay. Wow, this is one that if you just look at the picture, you might have trouble. So hopefully people are watching this video. Okay, so there's our first one down. And now we just got to do the other side with the bears. I'm putting the pin back in my tree. Okay, I love these squares, but yeah, they were a little bit tricky to put together, right? Okay, now we have to make our snow again. Now this layer, I mean, I just did the same thing. The bottom one there, I made a bigger curve, and there I made a small one. It's just however you want. And if you would rather cut it than tear it, if that would make you happier, you can do that. Okay, so I got my one layer, and then I might just use that as my other layer if I like it, and then cut off the bottom. I have to see if I like that. See, that way I only have to actually tear once if I can do it like that. And then my little tree. I definitely feel like I need to turn the light on. It's getting darker and darker. My little tree will go there. My big bear I kind of put on top of the snow. Oh, there goes baby bear. I'm telling you, these were some tiny pieces. And my little bear I tucked in the snow. I might want to tear my snow a little bit. Or make the back layer go higher. That's what I did last time. I can see. I know, this is so not an exact science. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, there's our bear. I'm just like figuring it out first. And then the baby bear. He could be on top of the snow too, but I'm gonna pop that one up. Oh, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna just call that close enough. I'm gonna just sort of guess where that ended and cut it off. And you can use a paper cutter if you want. That's gonna be more precise. I'm just hoping I can eyeball it well enough. Before I lay that flat, before I glue that, I'm checking everything one more time before I put it together. That looks fine. That looks fine. This is why I didn't do this class live. I don't want to hear everybody yell at me. Just kidding. I'm like, this way you can pause. You can fiddle with it. You can get more white paper if you need to. And yeah. And I'm gonna glue my tree. Oops. I'm going to try to get that off so that stuff doesn't stick in it. It's just on my fingers instead. Okay, now look, if you want to make your life easier and not do layers of snow, you could just do one piece like that and stick your little bears on and pop that one up. I'm a little bit tempted to do that, to be honest, because it's easier. But I'm going to go the hard way. I'm just making this a little smaller so you can see my two layers. Put my dimensional. So again, feel free to just do that. Just put one layer of snow and not try to do all this other layering. And that one, I barely left room to fit a dimensional. Might be sticking out even. It's not. It barely fit. So then I'm going to stick that on there. Okay. And I put Mama Bear on dimensionals and Baby Bear flat. And I had Baby Bear in my second snow layer. But if you don't do that snow layer, then don't worry about that. I'm not going to stick that pin in. I'm going to hope it doesn't dry in these 2 seconds here. Okay, so little bear's down in the snow. And then Mama Bear's going to be, oh, the way I did it is a little, trying to decide how I want to do it this time. if I can use big dimensionals, that's my preference, and mostly because it's easier for me to peel them off than these little ones. But when I have little spaces, I gotta use little ones. Okay, I want her to be a little higher. The way my snow is, I made that hard. I didn't tuck my bear in enough, so she may not be higher this time. It's okay. Whew, we're done with that one. Alrighty. Hope you all survived that experience of layering your snow and your bears. And again, you can now, I didn't do this on mine, but you could go add some glitter or Wink of Stella to your snow to make it shimmer, kind of like your trees. But I don't think it's necessary because, again, you're looking at an overall picture. People in general are going to look at that and say, that's pretty and sparkly, and they're not going to study your little pieces. So take comfort in that. I have to do that often. All right, let's stick our final layers together here. We're almost done with our pieces. I mean, then we get to stick them on our frame, which I find a little challenging to get it always to lay out just perfectly. But that's, again, you have to let go of some perfectionism when you're handcrafting. I'm trying to slide this to make it perfectly even. These are very small layers. You know, sometimes we stick with that bigger layer, which is a little easier, but I wanted a triple layer, which made it, one of them had to be smaller. Okay, then we're going to stick that centered on there. I feel like I need black paper or something so I can see this when I lay it out. Look, I just happen to have black paper right by me. It's going to make it easier for me to see. All right, I'm gluing this one down now. And this, you definitely have a thicker layer. You have about an 1/8 inch all around. So I usually line up one side and hope I cut it right so that the other side will also line up. And I'm just gonna sit here and hold this because I learned my punch doesn't really do the trick. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did anybody else watch Sesame Street as much as I did as a youth? As a child. I did watch that all the time. And I used to pretend I was like one of the adults and pretend I was on a show and doing Sesame Street things. And like, I don't know if you ever watched Polka Dot Door. I'm just talking while I'm holding this down. I used to pretend I was on that too, you know, when I was a kid. Wow, that's lifting. Gosh, ladies, I'm really sorry that this is not sticking to this paper. I really should have bought Stampin' Up! Paper on eBay. The good news is, eventually it sticks, as you can see. It's not lifting on those, but waiting for it to dry is tedious. If you have a big book, you could try putting that on. Or so I'm looking around my room for a heavy book so that I can start putting foam on my letters while this sits here. Oh, I know what might work. I have one of those heavy platform things. I'm gonna put that on mine while it dries. I have 2 platforms, a magnetic one and a non-magnetic one. Okay, I'm gonna set that there so you're not waiting for me. Because we have, I decided to make the letters more complicated than usual too, and you have a double set of letters. So you're gluing a light blue letter to a dark blue letter. You can skip that. You could just make all your letters light blue or all of them dark blue and save yourself this step I'm about to go through. Hold on, let me turn this over so it might be less distracting. I just have white to work with. Okay, so here's how I recommend doing it. Get your dark one. That's the one I put underneath just to give it depth. Get it all lined up. All right. And then your next layer is going to just sit slightly off. So what I found to be the easiest way to do this and the least messy is to put a little tiny bit of glue on the left side of everything. I mean, you want to be careful because where it might cross over. And yeah, I did just a little tiny bit. And then you put that over. And you want to make sure that you put your glue on the right side of your letters also. And you can usually see, you can tell what's the front by it lays nicer. You don't see like this, the edges coming up. I don't know if that makes sense. All right, so then we're gonna stick that there. And, oh, see that time, I don't know, it's easier, I think, to put it on the bottom layer. But sometimes, just so that you get the glue in the right place. Oh, see, I keep wanting to put on that. But if I put it on this side, I do think, I mean, if I put it on the bottom one, I'm less likely to put glue on the wrong side of this one, if that makes sense. Doesn't it look kind of cool with the double layers though? I mean, yes, it's more work, but we're making something we can use for many years. So it's worth a little extra work. Alrighty. I didn't mean to have the bottom sticking out there, but it's okay. We let go of perfectionism some. Yeah. Now I have seen some people have those Xyron sticker things where you run your little thing through and it becomes a sticker. You could do that, I think, for your top letter layer, and then you just want it to not stick to whatever you're putting underneath though, because now that we got through that, now we have to put our foam strips on the back. Again, this is optional though. You could just now go glue those flat into your frame, but I lifted them because I think they look better that way and they stand out. So in your kit, you should have these foam strips, and you don't have to cover your whole side, but you can. I actually want to use different scissors because the ones I'm using right now are brand new, and I put this little orange thing on it. That means they're really sharp and great for ribbon. And I have these old ones that I've used to cut adhesive like this, and that kind of gunks them up. And so I don't want to gunk up my new ones by cutting adhesive. So I have a different tag on those. And yes, it does kind of annoy me to have things hanging off my scissors, but I am going to get through it so I can keep my new ones nice and sharp. Oh, I just about used them. Alrighty. And I mean, this part is also a little tedious. Let me see if I can go through it fast, and you can pause if you need to carefully lay this out. How long is this video turning into? I could try to fit a little piece in there, but I don't think I need to, so I'm gonna save myself that work. Hopefully I didn't miss putting these dimensionals in anybody's kits. Done that before too. These are the things I always worry about. Okay. That was crooked, but it doesn't matter. This is the back side that nobody's gonna see how my pieces look on the back. I'm almost to my last letter. Okie doke. All right, I had a little piece left over. Oh, and I still have a whole strip. Well, good. Save that in case you ever get a kit that I forget to put strips in. All right, we're gonna hope that my glue has all dried here now and that it's ready to go. I think so. All righty. Don't lose your little snowflakes. Now also, before you start peeling off the backs, this is a big word and it barely fits into these parameters. So, space out. Now that time I put them so close together, look, that one's coming off and that one has tons of room. So that's why you don't want to start sticking down. You space it out to lay the way you want it. And then you start peeling one at a time and putting it down. Have some music playing while I'm concentrating. I don't really have anything to tell you guys right now. I'm just peeling and sticking. Hopefully you are too. I remember the first time I made my very first shadow box, which was Valentine's, maybe 2 years ago. I think that's when I started doing these. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. And I thought I'll just do them 1 year and then be done. But then I keep getting new people, so it's nice. I keep going, but I do have to, I keep changing them. This year I changed it a lot because of mostly COVID. I needed a design that had less stamping. And my first one had a bunch of embossing, like heat embossing that I needed to not do since people couldn't come to my house. Anyway, I forgot the moral of my story, where I was going. But oh, I remember the first time I had to put letters on those foam strips. I thought it was so tedious and hard. And now I've done it so many times over the years that I'm like, that's nothing. Okay, these little snowflakes, you could stick those on now. Or you could stick them on at the end. And you can decide where you want it. I kind of just put a little bit of, I can't remember if I did a glue dot or glue. There's 3 sizes, so you decide where you want your big one and your little one. Oh, they're sticking to my fingers that have glue on them. So I kind of wanted to make it look like they just fell, you know, naturally. But of course, really, I'm going to go glue them down. But if you want to make it easy, you could just stick a glue dot in the middle. But I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue, but I'm really only doing it in the middle because my edges are sticking off, as you can see. I kind of wish, I'm going to make that one lower because that one's high. All right, everything's done except you just have to put them on your bottom layer now. And some people are really fast at this. I'm a little slow because I keep retweaking it. So I like to have a grid paper just to, I don't know, it kind of helps me see, but you don't have to do that. Sometimes I don't. Okay, so I would try to just look and be like, that looks good. Get that middle one in there first. Make sure it's even on the top and bottom. And then you can also rearrange these little squares, obviously, however you want. You don't have to do it the way I did it. See, that looked even to me, but now when I go to put these on, I feel like I need to move it a little. So I'm going through a lot of work when I'm not even gluing down, but this is just me making sure they're all gonna fit. And before I start gluing, and you know, you can turn this off now if you want and do this part on your own. This is mine that's crooked, that it's gonna pain me, but it is what it is. All right. Oh, it's so pretty. Now I'm gonna start gluing. I think I'm still gonna do the middle one first to hold me steady in case I bump the other ones. So again, I know some people use tear tape here instead, but I'm so nervous about having to move it a little, not laying it down perfect, so I'm going to use glue. Hope that is just right. I haven't pressed hard yet. Okay, I'm ready to press. It looks right. I'm pressing, but try not to slide it while I press. So I do that sometimes. I think I did it a little bit there. See some glue. Okay. Now I'm going to just go put in my bottom pieces. It's weird. I hear a weird noise in my house. I think it's my dog snoring in the room next to me. I don't know. It's bizarre what I'm hearing. All right. And you can see I tried so hard to make it perfect, but this side feels a tiny bit smaller than that one. It's okay. I always notice these things as I'm doing them, but then later I don't notice. So that's my comfort, my comforting words for you and for me. It's my comforting words. All right. I'm telling you, this is a long video to sit and I feel like I'm talking to myself because I am. But thanks for watching and thanks for joining this class. And I hope that this bear and deer snow parts didn't make you too miserable. Alrighty. And you can always get more white paper. Hopefully you have white paper and you can make yourself more snow. Or you might even have dies. There's dies out there where you can cut snow layers. Like if you have the little Trimming the Town that has some snow layer dies. Winter Woods kind of does too. I do have Winter Woods, but I didn't think of it. That'd be more cutting I'd need to do, so it was a lot easier. I'll just make you guys tear your snow. Plus, I have been tearing snow before dies ever existed. Back when my early stamping days, they didn't have dies. And I made snow by tearing it, so that's what I still do sometimes. Oh, I got 2 squares left. 2 squares left on this baby. And this bird punch, it's retired too. But it's one I can't let go of. I use it enough. I don't know if you saw my little popcorn snowman things I made on a Facebook Live once, but I used that same leaf. Not a leaf. I mean, it's a bird wing, but I've used it for a leaf, and I also used it for the snowman nose. I would show you that, but I don't know where. I don't have that right now. And really, you've been on here with me long enough. So that's it. We made it. I made it anyway. And have a beautiful winter sampler. And now that it's all done, you know, if you don't study it too carefully, you can't see the little imperfections. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you love your finished product. And I'll talk to you guys later.